Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about an industry worth billions of dollars. Built almost entirely on a concept that human physiology does not support, and on a marketing narrative that has convinced an enormous number of well-intentioned, health-conscious people to repeatedly do something that is quietly damaging the very system they are trying to restore. Detox, cleansing, the juice fast, the 7-day gut reset kit, the herbal purge protocol that promises to flush toxins, reset your digestive system, and leave you feeling lighter, clearer, and renewed. I want to be honest with you today about what the research actually shows is happening inside your gut during most of these protocols, not what the marketing says, not what the before and after testimonials suggest, what the biology does. Let me start with the foundational premise, because if the premise is wrong, everything built on it collapses. The detox industry is built on the claim that the body accumulates toxins that require external intervention to remove, that without a periodic cleanse, these toxins build up in the gut, the liver, and the tissues, and produce the fatigue, the brain fog, the bloating, and the general feeling of heaviness that drives people toward cleansing protocols in the first place. The liver, the kidneys, the lungs, the skin, and the gut itself are continuous, highly sophisticated detoxification systems that operate around the clock without requiring a juice fast to function. The liver processes and neutralizes metabolic waste products, environmental compounds, and dietary byproducts through 2 phases of enzymatic activity that run continuously regardless of what you eat. The kidneys filter approximately 180 liters of blood per day. These systems do not accumulate a backlog that a 3-day cleanse addresses. They either function well or they don't, and if they don't, the intervention required is medical, not commercial. The first and most common mechanism of harm is the laxative component. The majority of gut cleanse products, whether positioned as herbal, natural, or scientifically formulated, contain stimulant laxatives. Senna cascara sagrada, aloe latex, rhubarb, root, and magnesium compounds in high doses are the most common. These compounds work by irritating the intestinal lining, stimulating muscle contractions, and accelerating transit so dramatically that the contents of the gut are expelled rapidly. This feels like cleansing. It is not. What is actually happening is a forced pharmacologically induced evacuation that bypasses the normal absorptive and regulatory functions of the large intestine entirely. The second mechanism of harm is the caloric and nutritional restriction that accompanies most juice cleanses and liquid-only protocols. The gut lining, specifically the intestinal epithelium, is one of the most metabolically active tissues in the body. Its cells turn over every 3 to 5 days, requiring a continuous supply of glutamine, zinc, vitamin A, and adequate dietary protein to maintain their renewal cycle. When caloric intake drops dramatically and protein intake effectively disappears, as it does in most juice cleanse protocols, this renewal cycle slows. Old epithelial cells are not replaced efficiently. The tight junction proteins that seal the gaps between intestinal cells are not synthesized at the rate required to maintain barrier integrity. According to research, even short periods of significant caloric restriction and protein insufficiency produce measurable increases in intestinal permeability, meaning the gut lining becomes more permeable, not less, during a period of nutritional deprivation. In one study, participants undergoing a 5-day very low-calorie protocol showed elevated markers of gut permeability at day 3 that continued to rise through day 5, with partial recovery only after normal eating resumed. The cleanse was opening the gut lining. The post-cleanse period was attempting to close it again. Each cycle of restriction and resumption left the barrier slightly more compromised than before. The third mechanism is one that almost no cleanse product discussion acknowledges: the microbiome disruption produced by the combination of stimulant laxatives, dramatic dietary restriction, and the high sugar load of most juice protocols. A juice cleanse delivers large quantities of fructose and glucose in a rapidly absorbed liquid format, without the fiber, protein, or fat that would buffer their impact on the gut environment. As I have discussed in previous videos, high liquid fructose loads that exceed the small intestine's absorptive capacity travel to the large intestine where they feed bacterial populations that produce gas, alter gut pH, and shift the microbiome toward profiles associated with inflammation and dysbiosis. At the same time, the absence of fiber removes the primary fuel source for the beneficial bacterial populations that maintain gut lining, integrity, and regulate immune function. The microbiome is simultaneously being overfed with the wrong substrate and starved of the right one. According to research, dramatic dietary shifts, even toward apparently healthier patterns, produce rapid and significant microbiome disruption during the transition period. In one study, Individuals undergoing a 3-day juice cleanse showed measurable shifts in gut microbiome composition toward reduced bacterial diversity, with the most significant reductions in fiber-dependent beneficial strains and increases in fermentation-associated gas-producing species. At the end of the 3 days, participants reported feeling lighter and cleaner. Their gut microbiome was less diverse and more inflamed. The fourth mechanism is the cortisol response, and this one is perhaps the most overlooked. Significant caloric restriction is a physiological stressor. The body responds to it by elevating cortisol, the same stress hormone that directly increases gut permeability, suppresses the gut's immune calibration, and disrupts the migrating motor complex that clears the gut between meals. A cleanse protocol that simultaneously restricts nutrition, accelerates transit with laxatives, and generates a cortisol stress response is attacking the gut lining from 3 directions at once, while telling the person doing it that they are healing. I hope this gave you a clearer picture of what is happening behind the before and after photos. Drop a comment and tell me whether you have done a cleanse and what you actually noticed. I read everything. If this was useful, hit the like button and share it with someone who is about to spend money on a product that may not be doing what it promises. And if you are new to Nutriflow, subscribe and hit the bell. See you in the next one.